The double talk of the evolutionist community is surprisingly absurd. It is so transparent that most 10-year-olds can see right through it. Yet they faithfully and loyally stick by their double talk and circular reasoning. I suspect it is because they know that when their hope of evolution pseudoscience is juxtaposed against real and hard science, they look very, very silly. I suppose the most striking example of this obvious double talk is their insistence that evolution and origins of the species, or cosmology, the origins of the entirety of the universe, are not related at all. They will often boldly claim that they are not even the same thing. Well, I understand the argument they are attempting to make. I also understand why they attempt to make such a ludicrous argument. First, what is their argument? It goes something like this. The study of evolution is only the study of how organisms change over time. We have proven that this happens, the evolutionist will say, so therefore evolution is fact. The study of evolution does not deal with origins or cosmology, they say. The problem with this statement is several-fold. First of all, the study of evolution and its premise that living things change over millions of years through the process of natural selection necessarily goes both ways, both forwards and backwards. To say that evolution is only a forward study of the changes within living organisms is an out-and-out admission that this cannot be real science at all. Can you imagine any other field of science that insists that it will look only in one direction of its theory, when there obviously is another direction that even common sense demands that must be explored as well? Well, of course you can't, but the evolutionist does it unashamedly. If organisms change in small increments over millions of years in a forward direction, then scientifically one would have to assert that this process of change had a beginning, and perhaps a middle as well. And so the process must be traced back through time to its origins, if the theory is to hold any scientific validity at all. It is like saying, I see what I think is happening now, but I am terrified to say how what is happening now even began to happen. And here is the conundrum embarrassment for the evolutionist. For if you take this premise that natural selection is the driving force behind evolution, and that is what evolution says, then traced backwards, natural selection runs into origins, especially origins of the species. How did living things begin? Now, by his own theory, the evolutionist runs into the brick wall of abiogenesis, the theory that all living things had to have begun originally from something that was non-living. And this something had to have, without intelligent input or purpose, it had to have sprung to life randomly, even accidentally. Of course, nothing like this has ever been observed in all of human history. And so this premise holds no scientific value whatever. And this is the embarrassment of the ages for the lowly evolutionist. And this is why the modern evolutionist feverishly attempts to divorce himself from origins discussion. But again, to do so only bolsters the unscientific nature of the evolution postulation. Secondly, for the evolutionist to demand that evolution is fact simply because he has looked in only one direction and has observed small changes within species over time, this also is a pseudoscientific statement. For our very latest DNA research indicates that these changes are coded possibilities within the DNA structures of the various species. Alas, what the evolutionist has not observed is one population of living thing actually becoming another population of living thing. For example, the evolutionist says that a certain branch of reptiles eventually became the first mammal. But conveniently, they assert that this happened over millions of years and therefore it was unobserved and can never be observed by the human eye. Well, how convenient. Small changes coded within the gametic makeup within a species does not demand that evolution from a reptile to a mammal is fact. It is just not real science, no matter how you cut it. One more evidence that the double-talking evolutionist is not even familiar with his own field of study comes from this article published by the American Association of Physics Teachers. They were decrying the fact that certain school books were trying to weaken or eliminate evolution and cosmology from their coursework. The AAPT went ballistic and insisted that, quote, evolution and cosmology represent two of the unifying concepts of modern science. Biological evolution, they say, has occurred and new species have arisen over time. Life on Earth originated more than 1 billion years ago. They then state, no serious scientist questions these claims. Well, there you go. So for you would-be YouTube evolution scientists, please don't expect us to take you seriously. Your double talk game is so exposed.